Supervisor. We're going to talk a bit about ventilation and IAQ. So I have a list of things we're going to touch bases on. So when it comes to providing heating and air conditioning, we are in the HVAC industry. You take the V out of HVAC and we become hacks. And that's the last thing we want to do. So I've been getting a lot of calls about indoor air quality in the current situation. It's like, what can we do? What can we offer? You know, do I do UV lights? Do I do POCs? You know, what do I do? And my answer is always the same. Pandemic or no pandemic, it's like we as HVAC industry, we control thermal comfort, we control humidity, we have filtration, and fresh air, ventilation. That's a must. So, you know, as we're going after the energy efficiency, you know, homes have become tighter and tighter. And with that, indoor air quality has really declined. So, what does that mean for a ventilation strategy? It's everything. So you have to offer IAQ. A brief description on or a definition of ventilation is intentional and hopefully controlled air into and out of a building. So 1 CFM in equals 1 CFM out. We want to keep inside in and outside out. So proper ventilation will go a long way into offering that for your clients. And I'm often asked how much ventilation is actually needed. So without ventilation, we cannot control VOCs, viruses, bacteria, molds. We have to have ventilation to also control for dilution of VOCs, cooking odors, carbon dioxide buildup in the house. So this is really critical. And people often ask how much ventilation is needed. So I always say, what are the pollutants found in each home? What are the occupants' sensitivities of pollutions? How much natural ventilation exists? How much ventilation is needed for the job? How much exhaust is in a home is something we need to look at and measure. We need to look at the building pressures. So when you're offering ventilation strategies, there's some measurements that need to be taken. And also, you can go to the next slide. So investigate, analyze, and quote. We have a diagram here that shows positive and negative pressures in the home. This is something we look real close at. By offering ventilation solutions, we can control the pressures in the home. The last thing we want to have is negative pressure. With that, we're bringing in pollutants, uncontrolled. Again, ventilation is controlled. There's a few ways that we do this. So we can offer, depending on your climate and what part of the country, the why doesn't change, just the how. So in certain parts of the country, like California and some of the milder climates, we can offer a fresh air duct. Just a quick snapshot, that's a duct connected to outside through the system, connected to the HVAC. So when it runs, it brings in a certain amount of fresh air. Also, in some of the drier climates, we can offer an HRV to bring the air. And what that does is it tempers it from outside by changing the temperatures. And that will also add fresh air for dilution and will control our building pressures that way. In the wet side of the country, we offer ERVs, which temper the air, but also remove the humidity before bringing it into the home, which is critical in the wetter climates. And also dehumid can be used both as an outside air intake, but also internally in the home and just recirculating to mitigate humidity. So these are some of the strategies that we use for bringing in a prescribed amount of outside air, fresh air. So just in summary, keeping the whole house ventilated is an absolute must. Ventilation can reduce concentrations of pollutants before they can contaminate the whole home. So we must ventilate the house. California is now mandating fresh air intakes, and I have a feeling you're gonna start seeing that across the country as we start taking a look at IAQ and building tightnesses and the such. So with that being said, you can text NCI and they will send me a text if you got any questions or would like further information.